Yes. The link is now up on Facebook. Here I am with this awkward 2-minute early thing. 2 minutes early, so I got to sit here. Because, I got to make sure that, this stuff is working right. So I have to give myself a window. Maybe one of these points, I'll have everything like, working all good and stuff like that. But right now, I got to have my 2-minute safety cushion to make sure that everything is working. Okay. Hopefully folks are gathering around. Stepping up in here for a second. Looks like I got a couple of folks jumping up in here. Man, I just realized that I'm all about 20-pound sledge propaganda today. Look at it. I got my shirt, I got my mug. It's like, dang, I'm quite coordinated with the 20-pound sledge paraphernalia, or what would you call that? And obviously it must be something good to you. It must be good to you because, hopefully you guys go over to the site and sledge out with us, because with 20-pound sledge, one of those bands that reminds you can still rock in America. So hopefully you'll go and check you out and get you some. Oh, there it is, 6 o'clock. Let's do this. Okay. Thank you guys so much for showing up. What is that? It's Thursday. I was like, wait a minute. Is today Thursday or Sunday? Oh man, I am not a very good multitasker. So it's okay. It is Thursday. All right, pick it up. Okay, it's Thursday. Old Testament Thursday. And let's get this Bible trip going on.
It's Sunday. We didn't relax too much.
I know, right? Hey, but whatever it was, we were still having fun. So yeah. I hope y'all have had an awesome week. Get you heathens ready for the weekend. So, get out there and get too crazy. Go out there with a little bit of the word of God in you. See if it can last you until Sunday so we can renew it. All right. Fabulous. Okay. So now with this one, we're going to go into Genesis 11. And I'm going to tie a little bit, we're going to review some from Genesis 10 too. Genesis 10, we was going over the genealogies of some of these kids and grandkids and great-grandkids and whatnot. And one of those children included Nimrod. So we will be discussing the mighty rod of Nim. Nimrod. We're going to be talking about him a little bit and talking about the Tower of Babylon and looking, see what we can dig out of a lot of mysterious things going on in here. And I'm gonna pause a little bit, during the course of it. I don't know where I'm gonna make my pauses, but we'll camp out somewhere and see if we can touch on some of this stuff. I'm trying to think, how do I want to do this? Do I want to go ahead and just start with the names? Because 11 kicks off. It's going to touch on the genealogy of Shem to Abraham following all this. So I wanted to touch on some of their names too. And but let's see what we can get out of it. Let's start from 11 Genesis. Now the entire earth had the same language with the same vocabulary. They said they had a common language. Now remember guys, we're reading that they started moving out across the globe, different tribes, different languages, but they all had a common language. They kept the common language. Okay, so now the entire earth had the same language with the same vocabulary. When they traveled eastward, they found a valley plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. Now this is awkward, right? Okay, so now the ark rested on Mount Ararat. Mount Ararat is like, if you can imagine like Turkey, and y'all want to double check this because I wasn't no A student in geography, right? So, but if you examine where Ararat is, it's like a Turkey, this kind of like a convergence between Turkey, was Iran, and was Syria, right? So it's kind of like on the more eastern, I think like eastern southern aspect of Turkey. And then you have like these borders that kind of come to a point with Turkey, Syria, I think Iran, Iraq, kind of like coming in through there. Okay, so you got Ararat where the ark rested. Now it says that they traveled eastward and they found a valley plain in the land of Shinar. And so which means that from Turkey, you can't go, if this is where it rested, okay, you got Ararat, you're gonna have to go south. So it looks like what happened was that they had migrated, you had migrations that went south and west. Because like, we had coastal people. And one of these names, I can't remember which name it was. If I dig through there, I got it in my notes. Remember, I never professed to be a scholar about all this stuff, and I don't have it all up in the Zolodex. You know, I got this stuff written down. I'm just sharing my studies with you. Hey, that's why you gotta cross check this stuff. I suggest you cross check it. All right, just studying with you. Okay, but now you got these coastal people are gonna head down, and they become these coastal people, and then they're gonna migrate east into the land of Shinar, which would be Mesopotamia. Okay, so they're gonna go up into there. And these people, okay, it wasn't everybody, because you have people spreading all around the world, but we're talking about a certain group of people. Okay? A certain group of people are going to head down there, and then they're going to head east into Mesopotamia. And then this is what they're going to say. They're going to say, come, let us make bricks and bake them until they're hard. So they used bricks for stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower whose top reaches into heaven. So let's make a name for ourselves, or else we will be scattered over the face of the whole land. Okay, now notice my emphasis on they said, and let us. This was the people who were saying that. Nimrod gets a bad rap for being associated with Babylon. Okay? Nimrod is depicted, kind of like the Nephilim, are depicted as evil by human tradition and apocryphal writings. The Bible never says anything like this. And I think people really need to be careful about the assumptions that they make based on apocryphal writings and trying to fill in the blanks with extra biblical books or non-canonical books. You want the truth about these people, read the Bible. Do not let your piety and your self-righteousness get in the way of what the Bible is trying to tell you. Okay? Now, Nimrod, let's back up, because Nimrod is associated with this tower. We're going to back up to what it says about Nimrod. Where you at, Nimrod? Now, Cush. Now, remember, Cush means Ethiopia. Okay? Ethiopia is Greek for burnt-faced people, right? Or basically we're saying black. This is your original, this is your, how do you say the word? Progenitor, a progenitor. Always messing that word up, right? So this is the original black man, right? Not just a dark-skinned man, a black man. Like I said, you got Indians, East Indians, who are dark, like jet black, but they're not Ethiopian black with the features, right? You got your Indians with round eyes, smaller nose, full lips and stuff like that. The hair is thick, but it's not like the dense, not really the dense or kinky like here, okay? Like your Ethiopian black, okay? Or your Aborigines, these are like very dark-skinned people, okay? But this is different from Cush, right? The father of the black race, Ethiopian black, as for myself. Right. So when people ask me, are you African American? I'm like, no, I'm not African American. Africa is a continent. It's not a country. And Africa doesn't define a race. If you really want to get down to the core of what race I am a Cushite. Okay? I'm a descendant of Cush. Okay? So now with Cush, he fathers Nimrod. Now, it doesn't make sense that people insist that Nimrod was this evil man. He was this evil king. People try to make the connections between Nimrod and Osiris, Nimrod and Orion. They try to make him out to be this evil king figure. And they get these, like I said, from apocryphal writings, or they get them from Mesopotamian history or Syrian history and things like that. There's really no true connection. There's no solid connection between these figures and Nimrod. Hey, people try to make it happen, but it doesn't say. But let's look at what the Bible says about Nimrod. Ham's sons, we're looking at 10 now. We're looking at 10, 6. Ham's sons were Cush, Cush, which is Ethiopia or Nubia, Mizraim, which is Egypt, Put, Sabta, Rama, and Sabteca and Ramas. Now, Cush fathered Nimrod. He started to become mighty in the land. He was a mighty hunter before Adonai. That is why it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before Adonai. Okay, and the beginning of his kingdom included Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. From there, he went out to Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Calah, and Resen. Between Nineveh and Calah, it is the great city. Hey, now, man, I can understand why people think that, wow, well, look at these cities that he's associated with. These cities were wicked, evil cities. Wicked. Hey, so Nimrod must be a bad guy. Well, let's back that up. Hey, let's back up a little bit. Nimrod, it says that he was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Now, why would the Lord recognize Nimrod? He's recognized him. I recognize you as a mighty hunter. Okay, so what is it that he's hunting? Now, if he's hunting animals, if he's such a great hunter, I don't know if he's hunting big game or what. If he's hunting big game, the thing that would make him a mighty hunter would be if he acknowledges God with it. If he kills an animal and if he makes an offering, it's probably God recognizes Nimrod because Nimrod recognizes God. Says, look, I'm going to make this kill. Okay? And this is a sacrifice that I will make to the Lord. My first few fruits of my hunt will go to God. And God is like, you're all right, man. You're a mighty hunter before me. Okay? In front of me, in my sight, I see you as a mighty hunter. Now, that's if he's hunting game. Now, you have also those who say that, well, Nimrod was actually a hunter of people. Okay? He hunted folks. So he's got to be evil because he was a hunter of people. Okay, I don't know if he was hunting people and killing them, but if we're going to say that Nimrod was evil because he was a hunter of men, well, then that would mean that Jesus is evil because Jesus was a hunter of men too. And he recruited people to be hunters of men. He told them, it's like, come with me, I will make you fishers of men. Fishing is hunting. Okay, so Nimrod hunting people is a foreshadowing of Jesus, who would even come himself and say, we're going to go hunt folks. We're going to go fish for them. Okay, now you're also going to have those who say that Nimrod was evil because his name means rebel, right? This is true. His name does mean rebel or rebellion. If that is the case, then the mother of Jesus Christ himself or herself is evil because the name Miriam means rebel or rebellion. Okay? So Nimrod being evil, it can't be summed up just because his name means rebel. Because the mother of Jesus, her name also means rebel. Now, when we get into these cities that he's associated with, all these cities went bad. They became evil. That's not Nimrod's fault. If it's Nimrod's fault that the kingdoms that he founded are evil, then we would have to say that it's God's fault for what happened in the Garden of Eden. Because evil took place there. Matter of fact, the death of all of us happened in the Garden of Eden. So it's not, you can't say that, oh, Nimrod, he's evil because of Babylon. He's evil because of Nineveh. He's evil because of these cities. Okay, well, America, when we look at the founding fathers didn't mean for America to be, it was a place to be where, hey, we're free to worship. We want to get away from this organized, tyrannical religion, this twisted idea of what they think that God says, and we're going to establish where we're free to study the Bible. Some of these people couldn't even read. Right? You're gonna listen to what the spiritual authority has to say. And I found a problem. Said, no, we want people to know how to read. Because when you know how to read the Bible, that's where liberty really comes in. Okay? Where God is, tyranny ends. Right? So we want to be able to read this Bible. Founding fathers say, look, we want people to know how to read this thing. Okay? So they didn't mean for America to become what it's becoming. So what are we gonna blame the founding fathers for the hedonistic place that America is becoming? A place where gender confusion is the fashion, and we're promoting it, and we're supposed to accept these people delusions and stuff like that. You know, it's like America's just is constantly going downhill with debauchery and just total, you know, self-satisfaction, just total selfishness. This wasn't meant for America, but that's what it's becoming. So we gonna blame the founding fathers for that? That's like blame. Heck no, right? That's why would we blame Nimrod for what happened to these cities or these kingdoms? Look at Harvard and Yale. Harvard and Yale were Christian institutions. They were Christian, right? Founded by Christians, meant to be a place to cultivate and flourish with Christianity. Not no more. Look what happened. Okay, so we look at these places that are just becoming places that are godless. Do you blame the founders for that? Okay. So why blame Nimrod for what happened to these cities? And I back that up by saying it wasn't Nimrod who said, let's build the Tower of Babylon. Nimrod didn't say that. The people said it. Okay? Like the people are doing right now. You got the people out there demanding something wicked. Wickedness is always demanded. Okay? But you don't necessarily blame the leader. So Nimrod, he ain't even in this. Nimrod is probably somewhere else setting up other kingdoms or something like that while the people are here and say, hey, let's build this tower. Okay? Now let's look at an interesting thing about what this is also saying. So let's make a name for ourselves, or else we will be scattered over the face of the whole land.
Egotistical.
Egotistic, right? A group of elitists. Okay? We know what that's like when a group of elitists get together. Okay? So now they say we're going to build this tower, and they're afraid of being scattered. It's like, okay, well, you're afraid of being scattered, yet you guys are going to do the very thing that's going to get you scattered. They're worried about the world is already populated, guys. People have already spread out. They've had generations to go on ahead, you know, to spread out over the world. But this group of people right here, these elitists, they want to make a name for themselves. So they're coming together and they're going to start to build this tower. And now on a side note, you got people out there who insist that maybe the pyramids had to be built by, you know, aliens, or it's weird how, you know, these people, they don't believe in God. They believe in aliens. They ain't never seen an alien. Ain't no proof, you know, ain't no really solid evidence of alien visitations. I'm not ruling out aliens. I'm just saying I think it's weird that people believe in aliens before they believe in God. Despite all the records that we have of the coming of Jesus Christ and the work that he did to demonstrate God, you know, but people don't want to believe in that, but they'll believe in aliens. Okay? And they'll say that, well, it must be the aliens who helped with the pyramids and things like that. It's like, okay. But look here, this is an interesting thing that it says. 11:5. Then Adonai came down to see the city and the tower that the sons of man had built. Adonai said, look, the people are one, and all of them have the same language. So this is what they have begun to do. It's disappointing. Now, nothing they plan to do is impossible. Come, let us, right? He's bringing the whole crew, right? The trio gang is coming, right? To check this out, getting up close and personal. Go down and confuse their language there so that they will not understand each other's language. Okay, now, like I said, when we be talking about building the pyramids and stuff like that, and people speculate that it must have been aliens who helped them do it. It's like, no, the Bible's letting you know that the sons of man, right, people, humankind, are able to do feats impressive enough to catch the attention of God. God's like, what you doing? Oh, come on, let's go. We going. We are going. Okay, we are going. God brings the whole crew. He brings a posse to see what mankind is up to. So this man is able to do incredible things because even God himself says that with this communication, nothing will be impossible for them. Nothing. That's a kind of a scary thought for God to even give that kind of credit. I mean, we are his creation. He did create us in his image. Okay, so I mean, with that, if he says that nothing is impossible for mankind to do, so I mean, that raises some different questions. It's like, so God, if nothing would be impossible for us, I'm going to ask this question. So why would you confuse our language so that we couldn't? I mean, what's wrong with nothing being impossible for us? Okay? So, I mean, does that mean that we could be immortal? Could we learn how to sustain immortality? Could we do that? I mean, God, wouldn't it be a good thing that we could make salvation available for us, and you wouldn't have to eventually kill your son? Well, that would be cool, wouldn't it? If you're saying that nothing would be impossible for us, you know, why would you stop that? Well, here's the thing. Because mankind does stupid things, there's the bottom line. It's like God's like saying, yeah, nothing will be impossible for you, but the impossible things that you're going to do are stupid. That's why. So now one would say that, well, if nothing is impossible for us, isn't it possible that we could do things without being stupid? Right? Hey, I think that's a fair question. So, I mean, because this is, I'm just reading it. This is what God says. And God doesn't, God is, I think, pretty careful, pretty precise in the words that he chooses. And I tried to look it up. I'm looking up, guys, and I'm trying to break it down in the original language and stuff like that. And it still pretty much yields the same thing. It's like nothing is impossible. Nothing would be impossible for them with this same language. Now let's look at immortality. Let's say if man was able to, manufacture a way to sustain his existence. I would say to you assuredly that mankind will not do this without affecting somebody else negatively. Mankind, in order to be able to run the experiment or in the pursuit of their immortality, they will hurt other people. They have hurt other people. People will suffer, people will die in the pursuit of mankind trying to establish his own salvation or perpetuate his existence. It won't be impossible for him. It may not be impossible. God said nothing can be impossible for you if you guys can communicate. If you get your communication all together. The problem is, like, you see it on the internet. Okay, guys, we have one language again. Right? One of those languages being binary code. We can get online, guys. We can communicate with people all over the world in a matter of seconds. Okay? And what do we do with this information? A lot of these people use this information to pull people away from God. We're becoming more and more of a godless world, trying to build our own tower. Okay? We're at it again. We're doing it again. So with this information, because you see people out there, they want to be informed. Everybody wants to be so in the know, so much in the know that they don't value life anymore. They value information. Okay? People will take information, they'll twist it, and they'll screw your life up with it. People get information, they want to hack your accounts. People get information, they want to steal your identity. They want to get out there and want to slander you, blackmail people. That's what they do with the information. So we got this one language again. We use this one language to get out there and destroy people. We're not becoming better people for it. Okay? This happened in the garden. That's why God said, hey, I got a tree of life here, and I got a tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The knowledge of good and evil. What do you want to do? They were enticed by the tree of knowledge of good and evil. A lot of good that did. Okay? Because they put that before life, the value of life. This is what we get. So with this this effort to build this tower, when God is saying that nothing will be impossible for them, what are we looking at? What is it that mankind could do? And if nothing would be impossible, it's like, excuse me, because I'm trying to process. I'm just thinking out loud. Remember, I'm studying with y'all. Where does this go? Where does this go? Where mankind would be stopped from building this tower, because the objective is to build this tower up to heaven. And evidently it must have been possible, because God came and stopped it. Now, mind you guys, he didn't destroy the tower. We remember coming up and stuff like that. We look, we imagine these images or we've seen images of God striking the tower down, destroying the tower. Bible never says that. God never destroyed the tower. He scattered them and they stopped building it. That's why the tower was never finished. It wasn't because it was destroyed. But they can build this tower just as Lucifer, Satan himself, said that I will ascend to the recesses of the north above the stars of God. He wanted to surpass God. These people are up to the same thing, following satanic footsteps. And that's where we're at today. People think that they're above God. They're too good for God. And I'm just wondering what it would look like, people trying to do these things that God said wouldn't be impossible for them. This is how much potential this is heavy, guys. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry if I'm beating this up. This is heavy. Imagine, just think about what God is saying about us. This is heavy. The power that we have. And right now, God is telling you that the only thing that's keeping people having this power is that they all don't communicate on the same, is that they all communicate on the same language. You take away this ability to communicate on the same language, and that is the thing that gets in the way of this potential that we can unlock. This potential, that even God is just like, oh, ho, pump your brakes. Hey, now this is not, don't get me wrong, y'all, because I'm not boasting in this. This is not me boasting in humankind. This is me boasting into the graciousness of God about what he's given us, right? It's like, wow, God, you hooked us up with it. You would even say that about us with the possibilities, the potential that we have. You would say this about us? Wow. What that puts in my mind is, God, I want to stick to you. Do not ever let me be foolish enough to say, okay, thank you so much for power. I'm gonna go do my own thing with it. And at some point thinking, you know what? I think I could even be greater than you. Heck no, don't let me ever be that stupid. Okay? Let me always be humble. Let me also always be grateful to the Most High God who's given us such a description, say that nothing would be impossible for you, right? Wow. It's like, well, God, if nothing is impossible for me, guide my steps so I always know what to do with it. Be ruler of my life. Never let me assume to be so selfishly sovereign where I can take this. I'm going to do my own thing because I will screw people. You will screw people. Hey, don't do it. All right, so let's see. So Adonai, let's take it from 8. So Adonai scattered them from there over the face of the entire land, and they stopped building the city. This is why it is named Babel, because Adonai confused the languages of the entire world there. And from there, Adonai scattered them over the face of the entire world. Okay, now check this out. So remember, Nimrod is associated with Babylon. You would think that Nimrod, if he established a kingdom, he named it. It doesn't look that way. It looks more like God named Babylon, or at least the people did. I don't know how they're going to name it because their speech is all confused. What's that place called? I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it is, right? The only person who can actually give it a steady name is God himself. It's like, I'm going to confuse the language. Therefore, I'm the one who has the authority to name it. I will name it Babel. Confusion. I'm the one who did it. So, like I said, guys, it doesn't say that in clear language. I admittedly, I may be reaching. I'm just looking at what it looks like. Hey, I don't see where anybody else could name it Babylon if their speech is all confused. Okay? So the one who confused the speech may be the very one who named the tower or what was trying to become the tower in the city. That being said, it couldn't have been Nimrod who named it. And it also means that it's probably territory that God gave Nimrod. God probably gave these kingdoms that it says, now Cush, we're back at 8. Now Cush fathered Nimrod. He started to become a mighty hunter in the land. He was a mighty warrior before, a mighty hunter before Adonai. This is why it said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before Adonai. The beginning of his kingdom included Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Now, these are places, guys, they might have already been. So Babylon might have already been a city. This tower, because remember, Nimrod wasn't telling them this. They decided to do this. People came together and they started to build this tower. And when God scattered them, God probably gave Nimrod the city and probably gave him the cities of the other places. Like, this is the start of your kingdom. I am giving you these. Is this outside of God's character? No. You see God doing it with the Israelites. You see Canaan over there? You're going to go and take it. You don't just get a city. You have to take it. That's how God works. Take it. Does he not say, I want you to go out and subdue the earth? Remember, guys, it was our job. The earth was infested by fallen angels. It was infested. Adam and Eve were given the instruction. They were supposed to go out and dominate. They were supposed to go out, breed, and take over the land, right? Does not the Bible say that we will judge the angels? Hey, that's our job, y'all. It's our job. We're supposed to take the earth and subdue it for him.
Those were his instructions.
All right? I'm not making this stuff up. These are his instructions. So it is in God's character to say, okay, here's the city, and I want you to go and take it. Or I'm going to give you this city. Okay? You're going to have to go and occupy it. So he probably did that with Nimrod. Because Nimrod wasn't the one who named the tower. He's not the one who named the city. The people did. Okay? It's not like he gave them these instructions to do what it was that they were doing. And once again, guys, we see that in human nature today. You can have an institution that's founded, maybe founded to be good. And then people technically screw it up. Totally opposite of what the founder intended. Okay?
Look at California.
Right? Oh my goodness, that's right. Look at California. All right, so now we get into, let's see, from Shem to Abram. Now, these are the genealogies. These are the genealogical records of Shem. Shem was 100 years old when he fathered Arphaxad. Okay? So now really quick, let's go over. I'm gonna read the same things, y'all, but I'm gonna when I read it, I'm gonna go to their names. All right. Now, consider the line of Shem. Now, when we read the names in the last one, you saw like a couple of pictures of like each one of the names that kind of, give a little bit of a heads up of what's coming in the future, with their names. And with their names, it's like you wonder, well, what was going on during the time of their birth or during the time of the gestation period where they would be inspired to give their kids the name that they gave them? How does that work out? What are they doing? So now we come into, so we'll start with Shem. Okay? Now Shem is the line that Jesus is going to come through ultimately, right? He's going to come through the line of Shem. So now with Shem, the first name we get is Arphaxad. Arphaxad, his name means a healer, a releaser. Interesting, because that is a fitting description or a fitting preview of Jesus, who will be coming. Okay? He is our healer. He is our releaser. Okay? Next we get Shelah, name that means that breaks, that unties, that undresses. Okay? So we're going to be, our bonds are going to be broken by Jesus. He's going to untie us, right? The undress. Why would we undress? Because we're going to be clothed. We're going to be redressed with the clothing of his righteousness. Okay? And once again, that may not, I don't know if that's what that's implicated. I'm just seeing some parallels here. I'm just kind of calling them out. Okay? Eber. Okay? Eber is where we get the Hebrews. Okay? That's where the name the Hebrews is going to come. This come from Eber. And his name means one that passes. Anger. Okay? Interesting, because one that passes makes me think of the Passover. And why was God doing the Passover? He was mad. That's why. He was angry, right? So when he came through, when he came stepping on up through there, he came smoke snorting angry, right? People were dying. People were getting, it's like, look, man, if I don't see that mark on your door, you're going to get slaughtered. Okay? Went into Egypt, firstborn, dead. Okay? So Eber, and this is what's happening with in light of the Hebrews, okay? Descendants of Eber. We got Peleg, which means division. So we got, at that time, it says that the world was divided in two. And that makes me also reflect on the northern and southern king. You got Israel and Judea. Northern and southern kingdom. You got Israel and Judea. Okay, so you got that division there. You got Reu, his friend, his shepherd. And Jesus is definitely our very good friend and our good shepherd. Saru, branch. layer, twining. Okay, so Saru, that is going to be a picture of, let me see, we got branch, layer, twining. Jesus is referred to as the new branch. He is the stump from the root. He's the new offshoot from the root of Jesse, okay, from stump of Jesse. In order for you to have a stump, it has to be cut off. So remember, guys, when we're looking at the genealogy of Jesus, like when you look at Matthew and you look at Luke, you're going to get a variance in the genealogy in there. Okay? Now, even in Luke, it says this is the supposed genealogy. It admits it, right? This is supposed genealogy. Okay? Because it's consistent with the Old Testament to a point. And then when it gets to Solomon, before Solomon, from David, instead of going to Solomon, I think it goes to Nathan. Unlike how in Matthew, the genealogy reads a little bit different. And it's already warning you of this. The Bible already warns you of this, that Jesus will be, the Messiah is going to come from the roots. It's going to be a stump, the stump. In order for you to have a stump, there has to be a cutoff. And this is a new shoot that's going to come up. Okay? So this is already, the Bible's already letting you know, to expect this. So we got Nahor, horse, dry, hot. I mean, now, like I said, that doesn't, I think about like, oh, how does that, what are we looking at with Jesus there? The only thing I could think of, guys, is that, when he's up on that cross, I imagine his voice is pretty hoarse. Okay, he's dehydrated, bleeding out, hoarse, wants something to drink. Right, he's dried out. Right, like I said, just speculation, just examine names and just putting the piece together. See our Messiah, right? Terah, whose name means to breathe, scent, or blow. I think that's interesting because you got Terah, who is the father of who will become Abraham. Okay? Terah, the father of Abram, and his name, and Terah's name means to breathe. Now, God takes Abram's name and turns it into Abraham, right? He puts the breath, right? He puts the spirit in Abraham's name. So I think it's interesting that Terah's name means to breathe, scent, blow. And God gave Abraham, he changed the name from Abram to Abraham. All right, so I think that's kind of interesting. Abram, his name means high father. Okay? High father, wow. So it's like, and once again, it's like, dude, why are you gonna name your kid? I'm just like, I'm the father. Why am I gonna name my kid father? I'm supposed to be calling you son. I'm not supposed to be calling you father. Like, what? Huh? Right? But that's an interesting name to give your kid. I don't know what was going on at the time, where he would be inspired, or him, the mom, came together and said, okay, we're gonna name him high father. But interesting enough, Abraham, who will become the figure where all nations are going to be blessed. You'll be blessed through Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is going to make sure that everybody has a chance to live in his paradisical kingdom forever, right? So that would make Abraham, kind of like the high father. I mean, Jesus even points back and say, hey, before Abraham, and that's a heavy figure to point to. Of all the people he can point to, he points to Abraham. Says, before Abraham was, I am. Okay? So, I mean, for people who don't believe that Jesus is God, but even though he flat out says, it's like, yeah, before Abraham was, I am. And God, that's what God calls himself. I am, right?
Yeah, how was he pre-existent?
Right?
Abraham.
And so we got Abraham, high father. Okay? That's once again like Abram at the time is going to be high father. Then we got, let me see, Haran, mountainous country. Now, mountainous country, you guys guess on one. Give me some. Okay? Then we're going to go to Ur. Now, this is territory. I was looking at the territories that they're going through. And the territory of Ur means fire. And this is where the Chaldeans were. And the Chaldeans means as demons. Okay, so this land was fire. This is a fiery area. Something about this area was described as fiery, and the Chaldeans were there, and they were compared to demons. They weren't demons, they were compared to them. So these must have been some like wicked people, right? So dirty folks. And this is where they had this, okay, we're gonna have to ease on up out of here. This place is messed up. Y'all some toxic people, and I just need to get away from it. Okay? And then we got Sarai. Sarai's name means my lady, my princess. Okay. So as we're reading now, these and as you can probably kind of figure that it was, women from Shem, who begat Arpachshad, and Arpachshad to Salad, Eber, Peleg, so on and so forth. And the kids, each kids, they had their kids and whatnot. Run it, hopefully you guys are reading along, or if you want to do it later, you can see who begat who. I don't want you guys to think it's just all one, thing that just came down. You see who begat who and whatnot. And then we get to Sarai, and it lets you know that Sarai was barren when we get down to, actually, let's just take it from 29. Abram and Nahor took wives. Actually, no, you know what? Let's back up. Let's back up to 27. These are Terah's genealogies. Terah fathered Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran fathered Lot. Hey, Lot. Did I get homeboy's name? What? Of all the names that I didn't get Lot's name? Do me a favor, baby. See if you can find that. See if you can find Lot's name before I wrap this up. Gotta have Lot's name. What's wrong with me? Hey. Okay, so now we got the name of, 29. Abram and Nahor took wives for themselves. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai. And you guys, we're going to find out that Sarai was his half sister. Now, once again, I think I talked about this before. It's like, is this the Bible like condoning incest? No, it doesn't condone incest. Hey, we see that not good things happen as a result of it. And at this time, guys, admittedly, we're at pretty much a time where it's not necessary. Obviously, the world is pretty well populated. Come on, Abraham. You don't need to be dating your half sister. But a part of the reason for this, guys, is because of the Lot. Just really quick, Lot's name means veil, covering. Oh man, can you dig it? The veil, the covering, right? The veil that was torn in two. Right? When Jesus did his work on the cross, the veil was torn. So we got Lot there. Now, but let's back up to what we were talking about, this incest thing. Like I said, because at the time, obviously there's enough people going around. It's like, dude, Abraham, really, man? You need to get out more, homie. You don't need to be dating with your family. But there was strict adherence, guys. It wasn't so much like, they're, I guess, total perverts. I know that's hard. That doesn't sound right, but it's like, okay, it's not for perverted reasons. Like, hey, man, my sister's looking kind of hot. No, it was a strict adherence to the bloodline, right? So it's like we're gonna stay within this. We got this family thing that we got right here, and we need strict adherence to it. Now, I know for some people, it's like, look, man, we don't buy that. That stuff is weird. It's freaky. And you know what? It's weird and freaky as far as I'm concerned too. But to make this genealogy, come on, guys. We're talking like, thousands of years to come to make this all line up properly. Okay, to line up properly, to yield the Messiah. And to have these traditions and these genealogies to point back to, guys, it's gonna have to be pretty airtight. Okay, so they're trying to keep a tribe that's pretty right down the line. Okay, now once again, now people are looking at God and say, God, this is sick. Why would you? Why? It's like God's like, what do you mean? Don't accuse me of being sick. I told them not to do this. I told them, do not eat from that tree. Oh, I told you you're going to die. Eh? Now, I shouldn't have to tell you any more than that. Now, but if you really get down to what God didn't tell him, which he shouldn't have had to tell, it's like, look, you're going to die if you eat from this tree. The act of disobedience is going to separate. It's going to have a domino effect. It's going to get really bad. Okay? You got one law, and all you have to do is not eat from this tree. Other than that, everything is going to be flipping perfect. They couldn't even appreciate that. right? Now, I think you would be pretty hot-footed mad if you were able to give everybody, give somebody just you just give them the best and the awesome of everything, right? They got everything. And all you do is ask them to follow one rule. It's like, look, don't do this. And if they broke that simple rule, this reasonable rule, if they broke it, I think you'd be pretty mad. Eh? And not only would you be mad, you're telling them not to break this rule because it's like, look, dude, if you do this, you are going to basically unlock something. I'm not so much mad that you broke my rule. It's not just that. It's because when you broke this rule, dude, you unlocked something, you released something into the world. That's why. So imagine like you have this one rule and just somebody just broke that rule and did not care about what the consequences were. When you told them what the consequences were, it's like, dude, you did this. Are you for real? So now the things is like, dude, do you realize what you unlocked into the world? Not only did you unlock death, disease, war, famine, rape, incest, molestation, drugs, freaking, you name it, everything that is horrible, you have just unlocked into the world. So don't blame me. If people are doing freaky things like taking their sister for a wife, I never intended that for you. Nobody was supposed to come into the world like this. Nobody. That wasn't my plan for you. You went ahead and did your own thing. Now we got this. And so, yes, even my son is going to come into the world where his ancestors, his earlier genealogy, yeah, they were having incest with each other. That's how my son is going to have to come into the world. My son, God, Jesus, who is part of the Trinity, sits on the right hand of God. This is how humble Jesus, but Jesus is like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to come through the bloodline of some questionable folks, born in just practically squalor. This is how I'm gonna come to you, the architect of the universe. This is how I'm gonna come to you, right? To bring you salvation. Wasn't supposed to go down like this, thank you very much. But you work with what you got. And that's how Jesus rolled. That's our king, y'all. That is a dude who is down with us. Okay? I hope that we stay down with him. All right, so that wraps up. Did we get, yep. Oh, hold on. Just read this last verses. Terah took Abram, his son, and Lot. Oh, hold on, let me back up just a little bit. Sarai was barren. She did not have a child. Terah took Abram, his son, and Lot, Haran's son, his grandson, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son, Abram's wife, and he took them out of Ur of the Chaldeans. They took them out of the fire land, away from the people who were as wicked as demons. To go to the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. Terah's days were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. All right.
Danica Botello says, do we get to chastise Adam when we get there?
Girl, you better get in line. Right? Okay, and I'm pretty sure you're being facetious. I mean, I know it's probably a little bit of seriousness to it. I'm sure a lot of us have thought about it, but you know that, if we don't forgive, God can't forgive us. And so we have to even forgive Adam and Eve. Because you can't have bitterness in your heart in heaven. It doesn't work, right? So we might be kind of nudging God, say, "Come on, God, just let me kick him one time. Just let me just Adam, what you do there for?" But yeah. To your question, I reckon we're gonna have to forgive Adam and live in peace. Forgive Adam and live in peace with Adam and Eve. Also, I mean, because it's gonna be heavy, y'all. You ain't gonna have time to be mad. It's like we're gonna be in heaven and say, because if Adam and Eve are in heaven, if they're all right with God, they got to be all right with. Hey, if God finds no fault with you, all right, then I ain't mad at you either, bro. I'm glad to meet you. Hey, we're here. I ain't trying to be mad. All right.
What was that name that you said means mountainous country?
The mountainous country. That was Haran. Let me look back. Let me bring my note back up.
Verum Ad Potentia says, you hit it back to the audience.
Haran. Yeah, sorry.
She came up with Temple Mount, Mount Sinai, Ararat.
Nice.
That
Thank
was
you.
good. I thought that was really clever.
Good find. Who's that?
Verum Ad Potentia.
CK. Right on, brother. You know. Okay. I ain't surprised now, because I know my man be studying. Thank you, man. Thank you for bringing that to us. What else we got?
Tom Herr says, "Are you a pastor?"
I am not. I am not. And I'll give you a thank you for even asking that. To even I guess I'll take that as a compliment. I hope you don't mind. For you to even ask, if I'm a pastor, or you might be like, dude, if you're a pastor, man, you really suck. But no, I try to make the disclaimer that, look, man, I'm just a student of the Bible, man. I'm a student of the Word. I'm studying with y'all. I'm just sharing my studies with you guys. I'm just a fan of the Lord. Is really what it comes down to, man. And I hold these fellowships, to just share what it is that my wife and I be reading with y'all, and just trying to do my part to bring that salt and light, keep folks where I can reach, inspired, do my little part.
There was some sort of troll that we had at first, but I know you'll like these questions or this comment. Paul made up Jesus, so there's that one, and then the ark never existed.
Oh, okay. Well, if Paul made up Jesus, you're gonna have to bring that to the other cats too, man. We got some synoptic gospels. We got Matthew, we got Mark, we got Luke, we got John. We got Peter. We got the accounts of Peter, and what was recorded.
Luke was in jail with Paul, so I think Luke might have something to say.
Come on now, So it's like it wasn't like Paul was this lone dude who was making this stuff up. That's a strong power of suggestion if he's able to get into other people's heads where they thought that they saw the same thing. Hallucinations only work, man, if you're the only one who sees them. Thank you for and what was the other thing? The ark was made up.
Yeah,
the ark never existed. Well, yes, it did. And the thing is, now you're probably saying that we've never found it. And what if we did? I'm assuming that you're probably atheist or agnostic. What if we did find this ark? We know the territory that it's in. Even if we can narrow it down, man, that's still a pretty big area. The ark may have been big, but the territory is bigger, and it may be kind of like finding a needle in a haystack to be able to find it. But let me ask you, man, what if we did find proof of this ark? You gonna obey God? You gonna believe in God then? And more, oh my God, if we did find this ark, which would show proof that it was the truth, you prepared to obey God? The reason why you don't believe in God, man, is because you don't want to obey Him. That's really what it comes down to. You don't want to do what God says that you got to do. And His God's instructions really ain't that. He's really not that demanding of us, guys. He gave us a list of 10 things to not do that kind of keep us cool with Him, right? That help us to be right with everybody else. The thing is that there's things that yourself that you are the God of yourself. You want to satisfy yourself. You want to do what pleases you. Sometimes what pleases you and what pleases us involves sinning against other people, and we don't want to have to answer to God for that. So we just rule God out. So we can find that ark. We can find any artifacts that you want that will prove, and there's plenty. All right, plenty of proof about what the Bible says. Plenty. Hey, Bible it unlocks. The people, it's like people don't even go and search for things in the Bible. They use the Bible to go and search for things because the Bible yields them. Right? So anyway, but thank you, man. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here.
This is a strange one.
Oh, strange.
Bonez B. Why do churches teach if we serve Jesus, we go to heaven? But in the Bible, it says no one ever goes to heaven. Only God and His 3 sons are in heaven. Yeah.
Huh?
I don't know where this person's coming from.
Okay. All right. No one goes to heaven.
The Bible teaches that.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not sure. You're gonna have to give me some and I don't know if we'll be able to get to it today. The question doesn't seem to make sense because I don't know where in the Bible that you may have read that. But yeah, when Jesus says that I am the way, the truth, and the life, nobody comes to the Father but through me. Well, and we're saying our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name, right? Our Heavenly Father. Okay, well, if nobody goes to God except through Jesus Christ is how we get to God. And where is God? He's in heaven. So that's where we're supposed to go. So I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure where you're getting that from. Maybe you were just, like typing it fast and you couldn't put the words in right or something like that. The question doesn't really make sense. All right, what else we got?
Let's see. Baron Aputentia again. Why is it that so many scientists have no problem believing the world/universe is a computer simulation, but have such a huge problem with intelligent creation? Wouldn't their programmer? Oh no, my thing's scrolled.
Okay,
sorry.
You know what? This is what I coined a. Let me just go say. I've coined a phrase, and I call it the tripping over the plug complex. This computer simulation, and this may not really get down to like the point that you're making, man. But when we was talking about like people who can perpetuate their own existence, or like say for instance, we're able to transfer our consciousness into a cyberspace, become or just keep recloning ourselves and things like that. But let's say if like that we insert our consciousness into a computer simulation to try to perpetuate our existence in there. The thing I'm worried about is somebody tripping over the plug, okay? And we see how we have hackers, right, who just cannot resist trying to get in other people's business, right? And that's satanic. Satan himself was the greatest hacker, okay? We obviously Satan loves hacking. He hacked into the Garden of Eden and messed up our program, okay? So, but I hear you, man. It's like for scientists, really, man, it's just like I said to our last friend who was on here. It comes down to a moral issue. The reason why they stay in denial and try to create these other theories about a simulation or multiverses and things like that is because they do not want to answer to God. And they'll look for any pursuit, right? In this case, an intellectual pursuit to try to rule out God, to try to justify to themselves and other people that they don't have to answer to him. So they use the so-called intellect to give them the license to be able to do that. And but yeah. It's strange that it's easier for them to believe that in light of the latter. It's like, dude, it takes a lot of faith to believe in stuff like that. You can't prove it. There's nothing that you can. It's like, I don't know where you have the solid proof of this sort of stuff. That takes a lot of faith. But instead of applying that faith to something that's real, like the Bible, which actually that teaches faith, they don't get it. Anybody else?
Yeah, Bonus says God creates heaven on earth after the rapture. When we die, we lay to rest until then.
Okay. Well, thank you for making the question a little bit more clear. Here, if we're laid to rest after we die, then how would you explain Moses and Elijah on the mountain of transfiguration? Hey, Moses wasn't staying in his bed asleep until the rapture. Hey, he came back and he was counseling. He was talking to Jesus. Hey, both him and Elijah. Even though Elijah was taken into heaven on a chariot, but you can't be in the presence of God in this body. So he had to be given a new one. Hey, because when they appeared with Jesus, they appeared glorified. So people aren't just. It depends. Hey. So from when Jesus had done his work, when Jesus had done his work and upon his resurrection, 3 days later, the Bible says that the tombs burst open and people came up walking out of their graves. So they didn't stay asleep until the rapture. They came up, they gone. Right? It was recorded that they were walking around in the villages. So no, the people aren't still sleeping and dead, awaiting the rapture. No, they're in heaven, just not with with the physical body, or at least not with this body. They're given another coil. All right, man. or I'm sorry, at least until they're given another coil until the time of the rapture, where everybody's body is going to be made anew. We're going to give it a whole new body.
Yeah, right. People are talking about that, and I think we saw that movie where they went to try to find the ark.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, people are talking about that.
I think that was Matthew Marsden's movie.
Yeah. Well, this person says Trey Smith documentary.
Okay, might have been another one. I'm glad more people are making them. That's right. Let's dig.
That's all I can put on my computer.
All right. Hey, well, hey, thank you guys for the discussions. Thank you guys for shooting some questions at me. Appreciate the civil dialogue. Didn't have some people getting up here too ornery and stuff like that. And I hope my answers to y'all was gracious. You know, I try to be, try to be cool, stuff like that. We're supposed to be partying up in here, man. Partying on the word of God. So I will see you. I will see y'all. Hopefully, God willing, we'll see y'all on Sunday. God bless you. Rock on. Have a great weekend. All right. And by the way, guys, if you enjoy our trips, if you want to leave a tip for the trip, hey, message is free. Delivering it ain't. People like, hey, man, we talk about YouTube is free. Look, man, I got to pay rent. Right?
They're really smart with telling people to share it and like it. So.
But share and stuff like that, so I can keep the lights on and, keep this stuff coming to you. So, and, I appreciate it. Thank you guys. God bless you.